The arena is dark and full of theories.
District 12, behind the bakery. 11:47 p.m., the rain falls in sheets, turning the alley into a river of mud and coal dust. Haymitch Abernathy stumbles through it, clutching a bottle of white liquor like it's the only thing keeping him upright. It probably is. He's been drunk for 24 years straight, ever since President Snow executed his mother, his younger brother, and his girlfriend 2 weeks after he won the 50th Hunger Games. The second quarter quell, the one where they reaped 4 tributes from each district instead of 2, and Haymitch used the arena's force field to kill the last career with her own axe. Snow didn't appreciate creativity. Haymitch is 40 years old and looks 60. His hair is greasy, his clothes stink, and he can't remember the last time he was sober enough to care. He's heading back to Victor's village, the empty mansion that echoes with ghosts, to drink himself unconscious. Same as every night for 2 decades. Then he sees her, a child, 11 years old, maybe 12, collapsed against the bakery's back wall, soaked through, shaking so hard her teeth rattle. She's got black hair plastered to her skull, olive skin gone gray with cold and hunger, and she's clutching something to her chest, a loaf of bread, burned on one side. Haymitch stops, sways, stares. The girl's eyes are open but unfocused. Shock, maybe hypothermia. She's not crying. That's what strikes him first. Kids cry when they're dying. This one's past that. She's just waiting for it to be over. Something in Haymitch's alcohol-fogged brain cracks, a fissure in the numbness he's cultivated for 24 years. The girl looks like his sister. Same age. Same dark hair. Cornelia died screaming in a capital torture chamber because Haymitch thought he was clever. 46 tributes have died since then, 2 every year from District 12. Haymitch has mentored every single one, drunk out of his mind, watching them get slaughtered on television. He told himself it didn't matter, that nothing mattered, that the capital broke him and there was nothing left to break. He was wrong. The bottle slips from his hand. Glass shatters on the cobblestones. The sound cuts through the rain like a gunshot. Haymitch crouches beside the girl. She doesn't react, doesn't even look at him. "Hey," he says. His voice is rough from years of screaming at the television, at the Capitol, at himself. "Kid, look at me." Nothing. He checks her pulse. Faint but steady. She's alive. Barely. Haymitch stands, looks around the alley. Empty. No one's coming to help her. In the seam, the poorest part of District 12, kids die all the time, starvation, mine accidents, peacekeeper bullets. The Capitol doesn't care. No one cares. Except Haymitch suddenly, inexplicably does. He scoops the girl into his arms. She weighs nothing. The bread falls from her grip, lands in the mud. Haymitch picks it up, tucks it back against her chest. Then he turns and walks, not toward Victor's village, but toward the seam, following instinct, following the pull of something he thought died with his family. He's going to find out who this kid is, and he's going to make sure she doesn't die in an alley like a dog. The seam. The Everdeen house. 12:03 a.m. The house is a shack. One room divided by a curtain. A fireplace with no fire. A table with no food. 3 people. The unconscious girl in Haymitch's arms. A woman sitting in a chair staring at nothing, and a smaller girl, maybe 7, with blonde hair and blue eyes, who looks up when Haymitch kicks the door open. "Who are you?" the little girl asks. No fear, just curiosity. "Haymitch Abernathy, Victor. Found this one behind the bakery." He lays the older girl on the bed, if you can call it that. It's a mattress on the floor, threadbare blanket, no pillow. She needs dry clothes, warm water, food. "You got any of that?" The little girl shakes her head. "Mama hasn't been to the market in weeks. We've been eating what Katniss hunts, but she hasn't caught anything in 3 days because of the rain." Haymitch looks at the woman in the chair, Mrs. Everdeen. He recognizes her vaguely, used to be a healer, married a coal miner. The miner died 5 months ago in an explosion. 42 men went into the mine that morning. 6 came out. Mrs. Everdeen hasn't spoken since. Catatonic depression. Common in District 12. "Your sister's name is Katniss?" Haymitch asks. "Yes. I'm Primrose." Prim. "Okay, listen to me. I'm going to take care of this, you understand? I'm going to make sure your sister doesn't die." "Why?" It's a fair question. Haymitch doesn't have a good answer. "Because someone should," he says finally. He leaves, returns 20 minutes later with supplies from his house, dry clothes, blankets, food. He strips Katniss out of her wet rags. She's hypothermic, semi-conscious, not responding, and dresses her in oversized Victor's Village clothes, wraps her in wool blankets, forces warm broth down her throat. She coughs, chokes, swallows. Prim watches everything. Smart kid. Observant. Is she going to be okay? Prim asks. If I have anything to say about it? Haymitch stays through the night, monitors Katniss's breathing, keeps her warm, makes sure she doesn't aspirate. At some point, Prim falls asleep curled against her sister. Mrs. Everdeen never moves from the chair. By dawn, Katniss's color is better. Her breathing steadies. She opens her eyes. Gray eyes, seam eyes, survivor eyes. Who are you, she whispers. Haymitch Abernathy. I found you dying in the rain. You're welcome. She stares at him, processing. Why? His mother hit him for burning it. He threw it in the mud so I could take it without getting caught. Peeta, Mellark. Prim pipes up. Awake now. He's nice. He watches Katniss sometimes in school. Haymitch files that away. And before that, before the bread, won't do anything. I've been hunting illegally in the woods beyond the fence, but the rain's been constant for a week. No game, no money, no food. I was trying to trade at the Hob, but no one wanted what I had. Then I collapsed. Then you found me. How old are you? 11. 11 years old, and she's been keeping her family alive by breaking the law. Haymitch knows that story. Every scene kid knows that story. Most of them died before they turned 15. He makes a decision, the first sober decision he's made in 2 decades. Here's the deal, Haymitch says. I'm going to feed you, house you, keep your family alive. In return, you're going to train. Train for what? The Hunger Games. Silence. Prim's eyes go wide. Katniss's face hardens. I'm 11. I've got 7 years before I age out of reaping eligibility. Most tributes get reaped with 0 training, 0 skills, 0 chance. They die in the bloodbath or starve in the arena within a week. You're not going to be most tributes. Why would you do this? Because I've watched 46 kids from this district die on live television while I was too drunk to help them. I'm done watching. If you get reaped, and odds are you will, with your name in that bowl dozens of times for Tesserae, you're going to survive. I'm going to make sure of it. At her catatonic mother. At the empty house with no food and no future. What do I have to do? She asks. Everything I tell you, no arguments, no shortcuts. You train like your life depends on it, because it does. Deal? She doesn't hesitate. Desperation and pragmatism, deal. Haymitch stands, looks at Prim. You too, kid, you're training. Both of you. If Katniss gets reaped, you'll need to survive without her. And if you get reaped, you'll need to come home. 7 years old and already understanding the math of survival in District 12. Haymitch leaves them with enough food for a week and instructions to meet him in Victor's Village in 3 days. Then he goes home and starts the worst 3 days of his life. Victor's Village, Haymitch's mansion, day 1 of withdrawal, sobriety is agony. Haymitch locks himself in his house with no alcohol, no distractions, nothing to numb the 24 years of trauma he's been drowning in liquor. The shakes start within hours. Nausea. Hallucinations. He sees his family, his mother's face as the peacekeepers dragged her away, his brother's blood on the floor of their house, his girlfriend's screams echoing through his skull. He vomits. He cries. He punches walls until his knuckles bleed. By day 2, the physical withdrawal peaks. Fever, delirium, muscle spasms. He's on the floor of his bathroom, shaking so hard he can't stand. His brain is screaming for alcohol, for the numbness, for the escape. He thinks about Katniss, 11 years old, collapsed in the rain, holding stolen bread like it was life itself. She didn't cry. She didn't beg. She just endured starvation. Haymitch can endure this. Day 3. The fog lifts. The shakes subside. Haymitch stands in front of a mirror for the first time in years, actually looks at himself. 40 years old, victor of the 50th Hunger Games, survivor of Snow's revenge, drunk, failure, mentor to 46 corpses. Not anymore. He shaves, showers, eats real food, finds his old training gear, knives, weights, books on survival and combat strategy. The Capitol let him keep them as souvenirs of his victory. They thought a broken drunk would never use them again. They were wrong. On day 4, Katniss and Prim show up at his door. Katniss is still weak, but she's standing. Prim is holding her hand. We're here, Katniss says. We're ready. Haymitch looks at them. 2 starving kids from the seam about to become weapons. Good, he says. Let's get to work. Victor's Village. Training begins. Week 1. The first week isn't about combat. It's about recovery. Haymitch feeds them real food. Meat, bread, vegetables, fruit. Luxuries in the seam. Katniss and Prim eat like they're afraid it'll disappear. He doesn't stop them. They need weight, muscle, energy. Mrs. Everdeen is housed in the mansion's guest room. Haymitch brings in a healer, one of the few in District 12 who isn't completely broken, to assess her. Diagnosis: severe trauma-induced catatonia. Prognosis: unclear. The healer leaves medication and instructions. Haymitch doesn't have time to fix Mrs. Everdeen. He's focused on the kids. First rule, Haymitch tells Katniss on day 5. They're in the training room, a basement he's cleared out, equipped with basic gym equipment. You survive by being smarter, faster, and more prepared than everyone else. The Hunger Games aren't a test of strength. They're a test of adaptation. The tributes who win are the ones who see what's coming and respond before it kills them. How do you train for that? Katniss asks. By learning to think like a game maker, by studying every past game and identifying patterns, by building skills that work in any environment, and by never, ever giving up. He starts them on basic conditioning: running, push-ups, sit-ups. Katniss is malnourished. Her endurance is terrible. She makes it half a mile before collapsing, gasping. Get up, Haymitch says. I can't. In the arena, I can't gets you killed. Get up. She gets up, runs another quarter mile, collapses again. Get up. This time she cries. Not loud, quiet, frustrated tears. She's 11, exhausted, and being pushed past every limit. Haymitch crouches beside her. You think I'm being cruel. I'm not. I'm being honest. The Capitol is going to put you in an arena with 23 other kids and force you to kill each other for entertainment. They don't care if you're tired. They don't care if you're hurting. They want you dead, so you're going to learn to keep moving even when your body says stop. Because that's the difference between going home and being a name on a memorial stone. Katniss wipes her face. Stands. How far did you run in your games? 30 miles in 3 days. Through a desert. With a broken rib. Did you win? But she does. Prim watches everything, taking notes in a little notebook Haymitch gave her. He's training Prim differently, not for combat, but for survival, strategy, and support. If Katniss is going to be a weapon, Prim is going to be her anchor. Victor's Village. 2 weeks after the divergence. Haymitch is walking through District 12's merchants sector, sober for the first time in anyone's memory. People stare, whisper, the town drunk, cleaned up, and functional. It's unsettling. He's here for supplies, training equipment, books, medical gear, things he needs to turn 2-seam kids into victors. Then he passes the bakery, sees the boy through the window, Peeta Mellark, 12 years old, stocky build from years of hauling flour sacks. Blonde hair, blue eyes, gentle face. He's decorating a cake, intricate icing flowers, delicate and precise, the work of an artist. His mother is behind him, yelling. Haymitch can't hear the words, but the body language is clear. Criticism, contempt, cruelty. Peeta's shoulders are hunched, defensive. There's a fresh burn on his left cheek, red, blistered, recent. Haymitch knows that look, the flinch of a kid who's used to being hit. He walks into the bakery. Mrs. Mellark, a bitter woman with a sharp face and sharper tongue, looks up. Haymitch Abernathy, surprised you're sober enough to walk. I need to talk to you about your son. Peeta, what about him? I want to take him. Silence. Mrs. Mellark stares. Mr. Mellark, Peeta's father, a quiet man who's given up fighting his wife years ago, looks up from the ovens. Take him where? Mrs. Mellark asks. Victor's Village. I'm training kids, preparing them for the games. Peeta's got potential. I'll pay you for his labor, whatever you'd make off him over the next 5 years, plus extra for the inconvenience. You want to buy my son. I want to save him from starving in the arena. And from you. Mrs. Mellark's face goes red. How dare you? I dare because I've seen the burn on his face. I've seen how he flinches when you raise your voice. I've watched you beat him for burning bread that you were going to throw out anyway. You're using him as free labor and punching bag. I'm offering a way out. For him and for you. Mellark speaks quietly. How much? Haymitch names a sum. Ridiculously high. 3 years' worth of bakery profits. Mrs. Mellark's greed wars with her pride. Greed wins. Fine. Take him. He's useless here anyway. Peeta, standing frozen behind the counter, finally speaks. I don't get a say in this. Haymitch looks at him. You want to stay here, get beaten, work to exhaustion, and eventually get reaped with zero preparation? Or you want to come with me, learn to fight, and maybe survive if your name comes up? Peeta looks at his mother, at his father, at the bakery that's been his prison for 12 years. I'll get my things, Peeta says. He doesn't have many things. A sketchbook, a change of clothes, a small bag of painting supplies. Mr. Mellark presses a bag of bread into Peeta's hands as he leaves. Be safe, son. Mrs. Mellark doesn't say goodbye. Haymitch walks Peeta back to Victor's village. The boy is silent, processing. Why are you doing this? Peeta finally asks. Because the capital's going to reap you eventually, and I'd rather you live. Odds say yes. 12 years old, you've got 6 more years of eligibility. Every year your name goes in more times if you take Tesserae. Math says half the kids in District 12 get reaped before they age out. I don't take Tesserae. My family has food. Your family beats you, that's worse. They reach Victor's village. Katniss and Prim are outside running laps. Training day 16. Katniss has gained 5 pounds. Her stamina is improving. She sees Peeta and stops. You, she says, you're the boy from the bakery. You threw me the bread. You were dying. I couldn't let that happen. Your mother hit you for it. She hits me for a lot of things. Katniss studies him. Haymitch is training us. For the games. You're joining? Katniss Everdeen. He shakes it. Peeta Mellark. Prime bounces over. I'm Prim. Are you going to train with us? 2 seam kids and a merchant's son. Starving girl, abused boy, and a 7-year-old who's smarter than most adults. This is his army. His proof of concept. His revenge against the capital that broke him. All right, Haymitch says. Peeta, you've got an hour to settle in. Then we start. Katniss, Prim, inside. Time to study. 3 kids who don't know it yet, but they're about to become the most dangerous tributes District 12 has ever produced. Forged in the Seam, Victor's village. Year 1, ages 11 to 12. Winter, 5 months into training. Katniss is 12 now. Peeta is 12. Prim is 8. The physical transformation is visible. Katniss has gained 15 pounds of muscle. Peeta's bakery-built strength has been weaponized. Prim is healthier than she's ever been. But tonight is about breaking. It's 4 a.m., 20 degrees below freezing. Snow covers Victor's village. Haymitch wakes them with a bucket of ice water. Get up, he barks. Full gear, we're running. Katniss, half awake, pulls on layers. Thermal underwear, coat, boots. How far? Until I say stop. They run through District 12 into the woods beyond the fence, through snow that's knee-deep in places. Haymitch sets a brutal pace. He's 41 now, sober for 5 months, and he's trained himself back into fighting shape. He's not going easy on them. 2 miles in, Peeta starts lagging. His face is red, breath coming in gasps. Keep up, Haymitch calls back. 3 miles, Katniss is struggling. Her legs are burning, lungs screaming. 4 miles. She stops, falls to her knees in the snow. I can't. I'm done. You're not done until you're dead. I'm 12 years old, and in 4 years you might be in an arena where a career is chasing you through terrain just like this. You think they'll stop because you're tired? You think the game makers will give you a break because you're 12? Katniss is crying, not sobbing, but tears are streaming down her face, freezing on her cheeks. This isn't fair. Nothing about the Hunger Games is fair. That's the point. The Capitol puts you in impossible situations and watches you break. Your job is to not break. Ever. No matter what they do to you. I hate this. Hate is fuel. Use it. Katniss looks up at him, gray eyes full of pain and fury. Why are you doing this to us? Because I'd rather you hate me now and live than love me and die. Haymitch extends his hand. Get up. She doesn't take it. She stands on her own. How much further? 2 more miles. Fine, let's go. They run. Katniss pushes through the pain, through the exhaustion, through the part of her brain screaming to quit. She finishes. Peeta finishes. Back at Victor's village, Haymitch feeds them hot soup and lets them sleep for 3 hours. When they wake up, he makes them run again. Year 2, ages 12 to 13, spring. Katniss stands in the woods beyond the fence, bow in hand. It's custom made. Haymitch paid a fortune for it. Recurve design, 60-pound draw weight, perfect balance. The arrows are carbon fiber, razor-tipped. Haymitch stands 50 yards away, watching through binoculars. Target is the doe at 100 yards, he says through the radio earpiece Katniss is wearing. Heart shot. 1 arrow, make it count. Katniss scans the tree line, spots the deer grazing near a creek. Beautiful animal. Young, healthy. She nocks an arrow, draws, breathes. The bow is an extension of her body. Haymitch drilled her on this for 6 months. 10,000 practice shots until the motion was muscle memory. Draw, anchor, aim, release. Smooth, precise. The arrow flies, punches through the doe's chest, both lungs, exits the other side. The deer takes 3 steps and collapses, dead before it knows what happened. Haymitch walks over, examines the kill. Clean, efficient. Good. That's it? Good. What do you want, a parade? You did what you're supposed to do. Now field dress it and bring it back. We're eating venison tonight. Katniss has killed dozens of animals by now. Rabbits, squirrels, turkeys. But this is her first deer. Bigger, more violent, more real. She doesn't hesitate. Haymitch taught her field dressing. Cut, gut, skin. Practical, necessary. By the time she's done, her hands are covered in blood. How do you feel? Haymitch asks. Fine. Most kids would be crying. I've been killing things for food since I was 11, before you found me. This is different. Bigger. More visceral. Katniss looks at the deer carcass. It's meat. We need it. That's all. Haymitch nods slowly. You're getting hard, kid. That's good for survival, but don't lose yourself. The Capitol wants you to be a killer. Don't let them win by becoming one outside the arena. What's the difference? Intent. You kill to survive, not for pleasure. Remember that. Peeta's got natural advantages. Stocky build, strong from years of hauling flour sacks, low center of gravity. Haymitch is teaching him wrestling, pins, submissions, throws. Career tributes train with swords and spears, Haymitch explains, demonstrating a throw on a dummy. Flashy weapons, good for intimidation. But in close quarters, wrestling wins. You get inside their range, control their body, and they can't use those fancy weapons. Then you end it. The movements are technical, precise. After a year of training, his body knows what to do. Good, Haymitch says. Now put me in an armbar. Peeta is 12, Haymitch is 41. Haymitch still wins, but he has to work for it. The kid's getting dangerous. You're strong, Haymitch says after Peeta almost pins him. But strength isn't enough. You need to think 3 moves ahead, anticipate what your opponent is going to do, and counter before they do it. Chess, not checkers. How? Watch their body, footwork, weight distribution, breathing. Everyone telegraphs their moves if you know what to look for. I'll teach you. Venison stew, fresh bread. Peeta baked it, he's maintaining his skills. How was your day? Peeta asks. Killed a deer. You? Almost submitted Haymitch. He says I'm getting better. You are. I watched you spar yesterday. You're fast. You're faster. I saw you shoot that moving target at 200 yards while running. They're complementing each other, but there's no warmth. It's tactical assessment, identifying strengths and weaknesses. Haymitch taught them to analyze everything, including each other. Prim joins them, carrying her notebook. She's been studying with Haymitch, not combat, but strategy, history, and psychology. Haymitch says the 73rd Games ended with a career tribute from District 1, winning by outlasting everyone else in a drought scenario, Prim reports. The game makers cut off all water sources to force confrontation. The winner survived by drinking blood from her kills. That's revolting, Peeta says. That's smart, Katniss counters. She adapted to the environment. That's what wins. Haymitch enters, carrying his own plate. He sits with them. Prim's right. The 73rd Games victor, Wade Rankine, District 1 won because she understood resource management better than anyone else. 8 tributes died of dehydration. She killed 4. Final count, 12 dead to environmental factors, 10 to combat. The arena killed more people than the tributes did. So the real enemy is the arena, Peeta says. The real enemy is always the Capitol. But yes, the arena is their weapon. Your job is to turn it into yours. Year 3, ages 13 to 14. Summer, training exercise. Woods beyond the fence. 11 p.m., Katniss and Peeta versus Haymitch. Objective, tag Haymitch with a practice knife. Rubber blade, no edge. Rules: no holds barred, forest terrain, 1 hour time limit. They've done this exercise 6 times. Lost every time. Haymitch is a veteran, 42 years old, 26 years removed from his games, but he's still faster, smarter, and more experienced than 2 13-year-olds. Tonight that changes. Katniss and Peeta split up. Standard tactic: divide his attention, attack from multiple angles. It hasn't worked before. Haymitch always picks them off separately. But this time, they're not splitting randomly. They've been training together for 2 years. They know each other's rhythms, blind spots, instincts. Katniss moves through the canopy, silent as a shadow. Haymitch taught her stealth. She uses it against him now. Peeta moves on the ground, making noise deliberately, drawing Haymitch's attention. Haymitch tracks Peeta, sees him 30 yards ahead, moving through underbrush. Easy target, he moves to intercept. 3 steps, then stops. Too easy, Peeta's not trying to hide. That means Katniss drops from above. Practice knife aimed at Haymitch's shoulder. Haymitch twists, blocks, counters, throws Katniss off. She lands rolling, unhurt. But now Peeta is on him. Close quarters wrestling range. Haymitch tries to disengage. Can't. Peeta's got his arm, going for a throw. Haymitch breaks the grip, pivots. Katniss's knife taps his back. Tagged. Silence. The forest is dark, quiet. Just the 3 of them breathing. Then Haymitch laughs. First real laugh Katniss has heard from him in 2 years. Finally, Haymitch says, "Took you long enough." "We won?" Peeta asks. "You won, because you stopped fighting separately and started fighting as a unit. Katniss drove me toward you. Peeta held me in place. Katniss finished it. That's partnership. That's how you survive." Haymitch is grinning. "What are you so happy about?" Katniss asks. "Because for 2 years I've been teaching you skills. Tonight, you showed me strategy. That's the difference between being trained and being ready. You're starting to think like victors." "We're 13, Peeta says. "We've got 3 more years before we can even be reaped. 3 more years to get better. By the time you're 16, you're going to walk into that arena and every career is going to wish they'd never been born." Year 4, ages 14 to 15, fall. The television plays footage from the 55th Hunger Games, not the edited, sanitized highlight reels the Capitol broadcasts. The full uncut footage Haymitch acquired through his Victor network. Katniss, Peeta, and Prim sit on the couch watching. A 14-year-old boy from District 9 is running through a forest. He's injured, bleeding from a spear wound in his leg. Behind him, the career pack is hunting. They catch him. The lead career, a 17-year-old from District 2, puts a sword through the boy's stomach. Not a killing blow. Slow, painful. The boy screams, begs, cries for his mother. The career laughs. It takes 4 minutes for the boy to die. Prim vomits into a bucket beside the couch. She's 11 years old, and she just watched a child get tortured to death on television. Katniss's face is stone, no emotion. She's seen 20 hours of this footage over the last week. Every death from the past 20 games, 240 tributes, 240 murders. Peeta looks ill, but he's not vomiting, just staring at the screen with hollow eyes. Haymitch pauses the footage. This is what the Hunger Games are, not the pretty costumes or the interviews or the sponsor gifts. This, systematic murder for entertainment. The Capitol watches children die and applauds. Your job is to make sure you're not the one dying. "Why are you showing us this?" Prim whispers. "Because if you get reaped, you need to know what you're walking into. No illusions, no false hope, just reality. The arena is a slaughterhouse. The game makers are butchers. Your fellow tributes are either victims or killers. You will watch people die. You will kill people. And if you hesitate, if you show mercy, if you break down, you die." Katniss speaks for the first time in hours. "How many people did you kill in your games?" 18 out of 47. "Did you hesitate?" "Once. Almost cost me my life. I learned what? That the only way to win is to be more brutal than the people trying to kill you. Not sadistic. That's the career mistake. Just efficient, fast kills. No mercy. No second guessing. Do you regret it? Every day. But I'm alive. The 18 people I killed aren't. That's the trade. You live, they die. The Capitol forces that choice. Your only decision is which side you're on." They watch more footage. A girl from District 7 dying of infection. A boy from District 10 killed by tracker jackers. A pair of 12-year-olds from District 11 starving to death because they don't know which plants are edible. By the end, Katniss's hands are clenched so tight her nails draw blood. Peeta can't look at the screen anymore. Prim is crying silently. Haymitch turns off the television. "This is the world you live in," he says quietly. "The Capitol built this system 75 years ago and has maintained it through fear and violence. You can rage against it, you can cry about it, but you can't change it. Not yet. Right now, your only job is to survive it, and survival means accepting what you'll have to do." "I don't want to be a killer," Peeta says. "Then don't get reaped. But if you do, you won't have a choice. Kill or die, those are the options." Closes the door, sits on her bed in the dark. She thinks about the boy from District 9, 14 years old, died screaming. She thinks about the 240 tributes in the footage, most of them younger than 16. None of them wanted to be there. She thinks about the Capitol, about the people who designed this system, who watch it every year and call it justice. Katniss Everdeen is 14 years old, and she understands, fully and completely, that the Hunger Games aren't a test. They're an execution, and the only way to survive an execution is to execute everyone else first. She doesn't cry. Crying won't help. Instead, she gets up, goes to the training room, and shoots arrows until her fingers bleed. Haymitch finds her at 2 a.m. She's fired over 1,000 arrows. Every single one is a bullseye. "You okay?" he asks. "No, but I will be." "Good, because tomorrow we start weapons training. If you're going to kill people, you need to know how to do it efficiently." "I'm ready." Year 5, ages 15 to 16, winter. Final preparation, 1 year until reaping eligibility begins. Haymitch sits with Katniss and Peeta in the study, on the table, a small purple berry. Nightlock. "This is your nuclear option," Haymitch says. "The berry's gambit." "Explain," Katniss says. "The Hunger Games require one victor. If all the tributes die, it makes the games look poorly designed. If the tributes commit mass suicide, it makes the Capitol look tyrannical. They need someone to crown." "So?" Peeta asks. "So if you're the last two, and they revoke the rule change, you threaten double suicide. You hold the berries, you count down, you force their hand. Either they let both of you live, or they get 0 victors. It's the one move they can't counter." "That's insane," Peeta says. "That's strategy. The Capitol's power is based on control. You take away their control, you win. Then you eat the berries and die. But you do it knowing you just humiliated President Snow on live television in front of the entire nation. Your death becomes a symbol. Rebellions have started over less. You want us to martyr ourselves? I want you to have options. The berries are a last resort. But if it's between dying on your knees or dying while spitting in Snow's face, I know which one I'd choose." Katniss picks up the berry, studies it. Nightlock. "Deadly in seconds. We'd have to sell it," she says. "Make them believe we'll actually do it." "Can you?" "Yes." Peeta looks less certain. "You're asking us to hold poison in our mouths and trust the game makers will blink first. I'm asking you to trust each other. If you're both committed, if neither of you flinches, they'll blink. Snow's not going to risk a games with no victor. The optics are too bad. And if we're wrong, then you die together, which, given the alternative, killing each other, might be the better option." They sit in silence, processing. Finally, Katniss speaks. "Teach us the plants, every poisonous, medicinal, and edible plant in Panem. If we're doing this, we're doing it right." Haymitch smiles. "Now you're thinking like a victor." District 12, the woods beyond the fence. Dawn. Katniss Everdeen is 16 years old, and she's been ready for this day for 5 years. She runs through the forest with Gale Hawthorne. He's 18, broad-shouldered from years of mining work, skilled with snares and traps. He thinks they're partners, hunting buddies who've known each other since they were kids. He has no idea she could kill him in a dozen different ways. "You're quiet today," Gale says, checking his snare line. 3 rabbits, good haul. Nervous about the reaping?" "No. Your name's in there 20 times. Between your age and the Tesserae, I know the math, Gale." Katniss stopped taking Tesserae 3 years ago when Haymitch started providing for her family, but the entries from previous years still count. 20 slips with her name. Out of thousands in the bowl, odds are she won't be chosen, but she's been training like she will be. Gale doesn't understand why Katniss has changed over the past 5 years. She's stronger, faster, more precise with her bow. She used to talk about running away, escaping into the woods. Now she barely speaks, just hunts with cold efficiency. He thinks it's trauma from her father's death. He's wrong. If you get reaped, Gale says carefully. I'll take care of your family, Prim, your mother. I promise. Katniss looks at him. Gale Hawthorne. Good person. Loyal friend. Completely unprepared for the violence the capital demands. If I get reaped, Katniss says, I'll win. And look what it did to him. Katniss doesn't correct him. Gale thinks Haymitch is still a drunk. The whole district thinks that. It's the cover story. Haymitch appears in public stumbling, slurring, playing the role everyone expects. Only Katniss, Peeta, and Prim know the truth. They return to the fence. Katniss slips through the gap, heads toward town. She'll sell the rabbits at the Hob, then go home and prepare. Not prepare like most kids. Crying, saying goodbye, praying their name isn't called. Prepare like a soldier about to deploy. District 12, Mellark Bakery. 10 a.m., Peeta Mellark stands at the counter, decorating a cake. White frosting, delicate sugar flowers. The work is precise, beautiful. Art. His mother is behind him, criticizing. That piping is uneven, the roses look like weeds. You're useless. Peeta doesn't respond. He's learned that arguing makes it worse. His mother feeds on conflict, so he stays silent, finishes the arena, not with fear, with anticipation. 5 years of training, 5 years of Haymitch's brutal conditioning, learning to fight, to kill, to survive. 5 years of understanding that the Hunger Games aren't random tragedy, they're systematic murder, and the only way to win is to be better at murder than everyone else. His name is in the bowl 5 times, minimum entries for a 16-year-old. No tesserae. His family has food, but odds don't matter. Either his name is called or it isn't. Either he fights or he doesn't. If he fights, he'll win. Peeta, his father says quietly, appearing from the back room. Take a break. It's reaping day. His mother scoffs. He can take a break after he finishes the 3 orders for the mayor's party tonight. Assuming anyone from 12 survives to attend, Peeta sets down the piping bag. I'm done. Small space, barely large enough for a bed and desk. The walls are covered in paintings, landscapes, portraits, abstract pieces. Art has always been his escape, but over the past 5 years it's become something else. Camouflage, strategy. Haymitch taught him to see painting as tactical skill. In the arena, blending into terrain means survival. Peeta changes into reaping clothes, simple shirt, pants. Nothing fancy. He looks in the mirror. 16 years old. Stocky build from bakery work, and 5 years of combat training. Blonde hair, blue eyes, gentle face. Everyone in District 12 thinks he's the soft baker's son. They're wrong. The arena is going to be a revelation. District 12, Town Square. 2 p.m., the square is packed. Everyone aged 12 to 18 stands in roped-off sections, segregated by age and gender. Younger kids at the front, older at the back. Parents and siblings watch from the sides. The stage holds 3 people. Effie Trinket, the Capitol escort dressed in a purple wig and absurd outfit. Mayor Undersea, looking tired and resigned. And Haymitch Abernathy. Haymitch is drunk, at least that's what everyone thinks. He's swaying slightly, flask in hand, staring at nothing. The crowd whispers, same old Haymitch, District 12's only living victor, reduced to a pathetic alcoholic. Katniss stands in the 16-year-old girls section. She sees Haymitch and knows the truth. He's sober, has been for 5 years. The flask contains apple juice. The swaying is performance. Across the square, Peeta stands in the 16-year-old boys section. He sees Haymitch too. Makes eye contact for half a second. Haymitch nods. Imperceptible. Message received. Today is the day. Effie Trinket approaches the microphone, smiling with capital brightness. Welcome, welcome. Happy Hunger Games. And may the odds be ever in your favor. Now, before we begin, we have a very special film brought to you all the way from the Capitol. The film plays on screens. Propaganda. The history of Panem. The dark days. The Treaty of Treason. 13 districts rebelled. The Capitol crushed them. District 13 was obliterated. The Hunger Games were created as punishment and reminder. Every year, 2 tributes from each district, 24 children total, put in an arena, forced to fight until only one survives. 72 years of this, 1,752 dead children. The film ends. Effie beams. Now, the time has come to select one courageous young man and woman for the honor of representing District 12 in the 74th Annual Hunger Games. She walks to the girls' reaping ball, glass sphere filled with thousands of slips. Ladies first, her hand plunges in, swirls, selects a slip at random, opens it. Primrose Everdeen. The square goes silent. Prim, 7 years old when this started, 12 now, tiny, blonde, gentle, a healer in training under Haymitch's instruction. Smart, kind, completely unprepared for combat. She walks toward the stage, small steps, pale face, trying to be brave. She doesn't make it 3 steps before Katniss moves. I volunteer. No hesitation, no tears, no dramatic pause. Katniss pushes through the crowd, reaches Prim, puts her hands on her sister's shoulders. "Go stand with Mom," Katniss says quietly. "You're safe. I've got this." Prim's eyes are wide. "Katniss, I've been training for 5 years. This is what it was for. Go." Prim goes. Katniss walks to the stage. The square is stunned. Volunteers are rare in District 12. Usually they're older siblings protecting younger ones out of desperation. But Katniss isn't crying, isn't shaking. She walks with her back straight, head high, steps precise. Military bearing, Effie recovers. "Wonderful. What's your name, dear?" "Katniss Everdeen." "I bet my buttons that was your sister. Don't want her to steal all the glory, do we?" "Come on, everybody. Let's give a big round of applause to our newest tribute." They give the 3-finger salute, District 12's sign of respect for the dead. They think Katniss is dead already. Effie, uncomfortable with the silence, moves quickly to the boys' reaping ball. Now for the boys. Hand in. Swirl. Select Peeta Mellark. The square goes silent again. Peeta Mellark, the baker's son. Artist, gentle boy who's never been in a fight in his life. Everyone expects him to cry, to beg someone to volunteer, to collapse. Instead, Peeta walks to the stage with the same military precision as Katniss. Calm, controlled, ready. He takes his place beside her. They look at each other. No fear, just cold recognition. The plan is in motion. Effie tries to inject enthusiasm. "Shake hands, you two." They shake, formal, brief, like soldiers acknowledging a shared mission. The crowd watches in confusion. This isn't how District 12 tributes usually react. Where's the terror? The tears? The desperation? Then Haymitch stands, walks to the center of the stage, positions himself between Katniss and Peeta, and looks directly into the camera broadcasting to the Capitol. He's not swaying anymore, not slurring. His eyes are clear, sharp, dangerous. The look he gives the camera is a message. I made them. They're coming for you. The Capitol, President Snow's mansion, 2:15 p.m., President Coriolanus Snow sits in his study, watching the District 12 reaping on a wall-mounted screen. He's 76 years old. He's been president for over 40 years. He's maintained power through fear, manipulation, and the systematic elimination of threats. Right now, watching Haymitch Abernathy stand sober between 2 tributes who don't look afraid, Snow feels something he hasn't felt in decades. Unease. Haymitch Abernathy, victor of the 50th Hunger Games. The second quarter quell, the one where they doubled the tributes, 4 from each district, and Haymitch used the arena's force field to kill the last career with her own axe. Snow had Haymitch's family executed for that, turned him into a broken drunk, neutralized him as a threat. Except Haymitch doesn't look broken anymore. Snow picks up his phone, calls head game maker Seneca Crane. "The District 12 tributes," Snow says. "Katniss Everdeen and Peeta Mellark. I want full background checks, family, education, psychological profiles. And I want surveillance on Haymitch Abernathy, everything he's done for the past 5 years. Sir, is there concern? Do it immediately." Snow ends the call, returns his attention to the screen. The reaping is ending. The tributes are being escorted into the Justice Building for goodbyes. But Snow replays the footage, watches Katniss volunteer without hesitation, watches Peeta walk to the stage like he's been expecting this, watches Haymitch's sober, predatory stare into the camera. Something is wrong. District 12 tributes don't act like this. They're supposed to be weak, terrified, broken before they even reach the Capitol. These 3 look like they'd been planning something. Snow makes a note to watch the 74th games very carefully. District 12, Justice Building. 2:30 p.m., the goodbye room is plain. Couch, table, 1 hour for family and friends to say farewell. Prim and Mrs. Everdeen enter first. Prim runs to Katniss, hugs her hard. She's crying now, the shock wearing off. "You can't die," Prim whispers. "You can't." "I'm not going to die." Katniss holds her sister. 5 years, Prim. 5 years of training. I'm ready for this. But the careers are about to find out what happens when someone from 12 actually knows how to fight. Mrs. Everdeen approaches. She's been functional for 3 years now, slowly recovering from her depression with Haymitch's help. She's not catatonic anymore. She works as a healer again. She's present. She puts her hand on Katniss's shoulder. Make them pay. Not come home safely. Not try your best. Make them pay. Katniss nods. I will. The hour passes. Gale visits, confused and worried. Katniss doesn't explain. Just tells him to take care of her family if something goes wrong, he promises. Then Haymitch enters. Alone. You've got 2 minutes, Haymitch says, so listen fast. Katniss and Peeta, who's been brought to the same room. The peacekeepers don't care about protocol right now. Stand at attention. Everything we've trained for, Haymitch says quietly. 5 years. It all happens now. You're going to the Capitol. You're going to the training center. You're going to show those career tributes exactly what we've built. And then you're going into that arena, and you're going to dominate. What about the game makers, Peeta asks. Let me handle the politics. Your job is execution. Strategic, precise, overwhelming force. The careers are going to underestimate you. Sponsors are going to ignore you. The Capitol is going to expect you to die in the bloodbath. You're going to prove every single one of them wrong. And the berries? Katniss asks. Last resort, but if it comes to it, you sell it. Make them believe you'll do it. And if they don't blink, Haymitch pauses. Then you go out on your terms, not theirs. Understood. Haymitch looks at them, 2 kids he found dying 5 years ago. 2 weapons he forged from desperation and guilt. I'm proud of you, he says quietly. Both of you. Whatever happens in that arena, you've already done more than anyone expected. You've survived this far. That's not nothing. I know. That's what I trained you for. Peacekeepers enter. Time's up. Tributes need to board the train. Haymitch's last words, remember everything. Trust each other. Burn it all down. The Predators arrive. The train to the Capitol. 6 p.m. The train is luxury. Velvet seats, endless food, crystal glasses. Designed to overwhelm tributes from poor districts, make them feel grateful for capital excess before sending them to die. Katniss and Peeta sit in the dining car, eating, not gorging calculated nutrition. Protein, carbohydrates, fats, maximizing caloric intake while maintaining digestive comfort. Effie Trinket watches them, disturbed. Most tributes cry on the train, or stare out windows in shock, or refuse to eat. These 2 are discussing strategy in quiet voices, treating the journey like a military deployment. You need to practice your table manners, Effie says, trying to reassert some control. The Capitol has expectations. We've been preparing for years. Effie blinks. Excuse me? The Hunger Games. We've studied them. 73 years of footage, strategy analysis, sponsor psychology. We know what the Capitol expects. We'll deliver. You've studied? Did you think we'd show up unprepared? Effie has no response. She retreats to her compartment, shaken. Haymitch enters the dining car. He's supposed to be drunk. Instead, he's carrying coffee, sober, clear-eyed. He sits across from them. Assessment. The train is monitored. Katniss says quietly, not looking up from her food. Cameras in every room except sleeping quarters. Microphones in the walls. They're listening. Let them. What's the plan? Training center reconnaissance first, Peeta says. Identify threats. The careers will be the primary problem. We let them underestimate us for 2 days, then reveal capabilities on day 3. Private sessions, shock value. Make the game makers sit up and pay attention. Force them to give us high scores. Interviews, confident, not arrogant. We're tributes who believe we can win. That's compelling television. Haymitch leans back. For the first time in the 5 years since he started training them, he's not their mentor, he's their tactical advisor. They're not students anymore. They're soldiers. The careers are going to try to kill you in the bloodbath, Haymitch says. Standard strategy, secure the cornucopia, eliminate weak tributes, hunt stragglers. What's your counter? We engage, take what we need and disappear before they organize. Speed and precision beats strength and numbers. And if they chase you, we hunt them back. Haymitch smiles. Good. The train speeds through the night, carrying 2 predators disguised as prey, toward the Capitol. The Capitol, training center, opening ceremony, 7 p.m. The remake center is torture disguised as beauty treatment. Katniss sits in a chair while her prep team, 3 capital citizens with dyed skin, facial implants, and absurd clothing wax, scrub, and polish her. They chatter constantly about capital fashion, about previous tributes, about how primitive District 12 is. Katniss endures. This is psychological warfare. The Capitol strips tributes of dignity before the games even start. When the prep team finishes, Cinna enters. Cinna is Katniss's stylist, young, understated by Capitol standards. He wears simple black clothing, minimal makeup, gold eyeliner his only concession to Capitol fashion. Katniss Everdeen, Cinna says, studying her. District 12, coal mining. I'm supposed to dress you in a coal miner costume covered in literal coal dust. That's what they've done for 73 years. Is that what you're doing? Katniss asks. No, I'm making you unforgettable. He shows her the costume, black bodysuit, synthetic fire that ignites when activated, headpiece with matching flames. You're going to be the girl on fire, Cinna says. When you ride into that arena, every eye will be on you. The opening ceremony is held in the city circle. 12 chariots, 1 for each district. The tributes ride through the streets while Capitol citizens cheer. Districts 1 and 2 go first. The careers, Cato and Clove from 2, Marvel and Glimmer from 1. They look exactly like what they are. Trained killers, strong, confident, deadly. The crowd loves them, throws flowers, screams their names. Then District 12's chariot rolls out. Cinna presses a button. The synthetic fire ignites. Katniss and Peeta are engulfed in flames. Not real fire, Capitol technology harmless, but it looks real, dramatic, impossible to ignore. The crowd goes silent, then erupts. But Katniss doesn't smile and wave like a grateful tribute. She stands tall, back straight, face impassive. Warrior goddess, not victim, Peeta stands beside her, not behind, not separate, beside. Equal. The message is clear. We're not here to beg for your mercy. We're here to win. In the stands, President Snow watches. Makes another note. Training Center, Day 1, 9 a.m., 24 tributes stand in the gymnasium. Head trainer Atala explains the rules. 12 stations covering survival skills, combat training, camouflage. 3 days to train before private sessions with the game makers. My advice is don't ignore the survival stations, Atala says. Knowing how to make a fire or find water can be just as important as knowing how to use a weapon. Cato, Clove, Marvel, Glimmer. District 4's tributes. A boy and girl hover nearby, hoping to join the pack. They're laughing, loud, confident, already planning who they'll kill first. Katniss and Peeta don't approach the careers. Don't announce themselves, they split up, blend into the crowd, and watch. Reconnaissance. Katniss observes Cato at the sword station. 6'2", maybe 200 pounds. Pure muscle, he's dismantling practice dummies with brutal efficiency. Every strike is powerful but telegraphed. He relies on strength and intimidation. Weakness, arrogance. He thinks he's invincible. Clove is at the knife-throwing station. 5'4", small but lethal. She's throwing with precision, hitting targets at 20 yards. Rapid-fire, sadistic smile on her face. Weakness. She overcommits on throws. Leaves herself exposed for half a second. Marvel is practicing with spears, tall, cocky, moderately skilled. He's good but not great. Weakness, he telegraphs his throws with his shoulder. Predictable. Glimmer is at archery. She's competent, hits the target, scores decent points. But she's using beauty as camouflage. Capitol audiences will love her. Weakness. She's not as skilled as she pretends. Under pressure, she'll crack. Peeta makes similar observations from the camouflage station. He's watching the careers, memorizing their patterns, their rhythms, their blind spots. At lunch, the careers sit together mocking the other tributes. District 12, Cato says, gesturing at Katniss and Peeta. Coal rats. They'll die in the bloodbath. Probably try to run and get killed before they reach the trees. Clove laughs. The girl's pretty. Might let her live an extra day for fun. Marvel smirks. The boy looks soft. Baker's son, right? Probably cries if you hit him. Training Center, Day 3, the reveal. 2 days of reconnaissance. Now it's time to show the careers exactly what they're facing. Katniss walks to the archery station. The careers are at the other end of the gym, still joking, still confident. She picks up a bow, custom compound bow, 60-pound draw weight, the kind of weapon that requires serious strength and skill to use effectively. First arrow, knocks, draws, aims, releases. 50 meters, bullseye. A few tributes notice, start watching. Second arrow, same target. She splits the first arrow. Robin Hood shot. More tributes stop what they're doing. The room is getting quieter. Third arrow, moving target. Mechanical deer on a track. 30 mph. Katniss draws while running. Fires mid-stride. Arrow punches through the deer's heart. The room goes completely silent. Every tribute, every trainer, every camera is now focused on Katniss Everdeen, the girl from District 12, the coal miner's daughter, the one they all expected to die in the bloodbath, just demonstrated archery skills that rival career tributes. Across the gym, Cato's smile fades. At the hand-to-hand station, Peeta makes his move. He's been working quietly at the camouflage station for 2 days, painting himself to blend into backgrounds. The trainers have been politely impressed but not shocked. It's art, not combat. Now Peeta walks to the wrestling dummy, 200 pounds designed to simulate human weight and resistance. He grabs it, textbook wrestling technique, grip, pivot, hip throw. The dummy flies over his shoulder, slams into the mat with a sound like thunder. Then he demonstrates a submission, arm bar so perfect, the trainer whistles. "Where did you learn that?" the trainer asks. "District 12, Peeta says simply. The careers aren't laughing anymore. Training Center. Day 4. Psychological warfare. The careers try to intimidate Katniss and Peeta at the camouflage station. Cato approaches, flanked by Clove and Marble. They've spent the night strategizing, realizing District 12 is a threat. Now they're trying to reassert dominance. "Nice shooting yesterday," Cato says to Katniss. "Too bad archery doesn't help in close combat. I get my hands on you in the arena, you're dead in seconds." Katniss doesn't respond. Keeps painting. Clove leans in. "You should join our alliance. Careers plus you too. We'd be unstoppable. Better than dying alone." "We'll pass," Peeta says. He's sitting against the wall, painted to look like granite. Perfect camouflage, the careers didn't even notice him until he spoke. They turn, stare. Peeta is effectively invisible, blended so perfectly with the stone wall that he disappears. Then he stands, and the camouflage breaks. "I've studied footage of every career tribute for the past 10 years, Peeta says conversationally. "Cato, your footwork during power strikes leaves your left side open for a full second. Clove, you overcommit when you throw knives. Leaves you exposed. Marvel, you telegraph your spear throws with your shoulder. I can see them coming 2 seconds before you release." He smiles, pleasant, friendly. "Just thought you should know." Across the room, Katniss has an arrow knocked before Clove's fingers even touch the blade. She's not aiming at Clove. She's aiming at the wall, 6 inches from Cato's head. The message is clear. "I'm faster than you think, and I don't miss." Cato stares at the arrow, at Katniss, at Peeta. Then he walks away. No jokes, no threats. Just tactical retreat. The careers finally understand. District 12 isn't prey. They're predators. Training Center. Private sessions. Day 5, the private sessions are the tribute's chance to demonstrate skills directly to the game makers. 15 minutes each. The game makers assign scores from 1 to 12 based on performance. High scores attract sponsors. Sponsors send gifts in the arena. Gifts mean survival. Katniss enters the session room. 12 game makers sit at a table, eating, drinking, half paying attention. They've seen 22 tributes already. They're bored. Katniss walks to the archery station without speaking, picks up a bow, loads 12 arrows into the quiver. Then she fires. Not at the standard targets. At the wall behind the game makers, she shoots in a pattern, 12 arrows, 12 shots, arranged in letters. Remember. The word is spelled out on their wall in carbon fiber arrows, each one embedded 6 inches deep. The game makers stop eating, stop talking, stare. Then Katniss walks to the roast pig on their table, the centerpiece of their feast. There's an apple in its mouth. She knocks one final arrow, aims, fires. The arrow goes through the apple, pinning it to the wall behind the game makers without touching the pig. Katniss turns to leave, pauses at the door. "Remember what you're judging," she says, "our lives." Then she leaves. The game maker Seneca Crane recovers first. "Score?" "That was," one game maker says. "That was unprecedented." "Score," Seneca repeats. 12, another game maker says. "She just threatened us and demonstrated perfect marksmanship simultaneously." "That's a 12. The vote is unanimous. Peeta's session is different. He enters, demonstrates hand-to-hand combat on the practice dummies. Submissions, throws, strikes. The game makers are impressed but not shocked. District 2 tributes show similar skills every year. Then Peeta does something unexpected. He sits with the game makers. "Can I ask you a question?" Peeta says. Seneca, intrigued. "Go ahead. They're stronger, faster, more skilled than tributes from poorer districts?" "That's part of it," Peeta agrees. "But the real reason is psychological. Careers project dominance. They convince other tributes that resistance is futile. So most tributes don't even try to fight back. They run, hide, hope to outlast. But you can't outlast a career. You have to outthink them." Cato from District 2. Physically dominant, but his fighting style relies on intimidation and brute force. If you counter his initial charge and force him into a technical fight, his advantage disappears. Clove, also District 2. Knife specialist, lethal at range, vulnerable in close quarters if you get inside her throwing distance. Marvel from 1, spear thrower, predictable. He telegraphs his throws. Easy to dodge if you're watching for the tell. Peeta diagrams weakness after weakness. Strategic analysis of every career tribute. The game makers are fascinated. They've never seen a tribute do this. Break down the competition like a chess match. "You're telling us how to beat them," Seneca says. "I'm showing you that they can be beaten. With strategy, not just strength. That makes better television, doesn't it? Underdog victory through cunning, not just physical superiority." When the scores are broadcast that evening, the entire capital is shocked. Katniss Everdeen, 12. Peeta Mellark, 12. District 12 has never scored above a 7. The careers watch the broadcast in their penthouse. Cato throws a chair through a window. Training center, interviews, day 6, Caesar Flickerman's stage. Bright lights, live audience, broadcast to the entire nation. The interviews are the tribute's last chance to win sponsors before the arena. 3 minutes per tribute to be charming, sympathetic, memorable. Caesar interviews the careers first. They're intimidating, confident, promising quick kills. The audience applauds politely, but they've seen this before. Then Katniss walks onto the stage. She's wearing the fire dress, Cinna's design. Black gown that ignites when she twirls, synthetic flames trailing behind her. The audience gasps, applauds, the girl on fire. Caesar is beaming. Katniss Everdeen, District 12. That's quite an entrance. Tell me, how are you feeling about the games? Ready. Most tributes are terrified. "I'm here to win," Katniss says simply. "I'm here because my district deserves a victor who fights, not who just survives." For 73 years, District 12 has sent tributes who were scared, unprepared, and hopeless. That changes tomorrow. The audience is silent. This isn't the usual District 12 interview. No begging for sympathy, no tears, no desperation. "You scored a 12 in your private session," Caesar says. "The same as the career tributes. How did you do that?" "By showing the game makers that I'm not easy prey. That if they want entertaining television, they should bet on me." Confident. "I like it. And your district partner, Peeta, you two seem very coordinated. Is there an alliance there?" "Peeta and I have known each other for years. We trust each other. That's going to matter in the arena." She says, "Trust," which is more dangerous. The interview ends. Katniss walks off stage. The audience erupts in applause. Then Peeta takes the stage. He's charming, natural smile, easy conversation. Caesar loves him immediately. Peeta Mellark, another 12. District 12 is full of surprises this year. Tell me, what's your strategy? Survival first, victory second. I'm not going into that arena trying to be a hero. I'm going in trying to come home. And Katniss, there's clearly a strong bond there. We've trained together, we know each other's strengths and weaknesses. In the arena, that kind of partnership is invaluable. Partnership, strategy. Caesar probes. "You're not going to tell me there's a romance brewing?" "But we're focused on winning, not performing." The audience laughs. They think he's being coy. The careers watching backstage know better. Peeta just announced that he and Katniss are a tactical unit, not star-crossed lovers, soldiers. The interviews end. The tributes return to their penthouses. Tomorrow, the arena. Penthouse, midnight, final briefing. Haymitch sits with Katniss and Peeta in the District 12 penthouse. Tomorrow at dawn, they enter the arena. "This is it," Haymitch says. 5 years. Everything we've trained for. Tomorrow, you show them what we've built. The careers are scared, Peeta says. We saw it during training. They know we're dangerous. Good. Use that. But don't underestimate them. Cato is brutal. Clove is sadistic. They've been training since childhood, just like you. The difference is they think they're invincible. You know you're not. Your call. If you see an opening, take supplies and run. If you can control the cornucopia, do it. But don't die in the first 60 seconds trying to be heroes. Strategy over pride. Understood. And the berries. Last resort, Peeta confirms. Only if they revoke the rule change and force us to kill each other. Good. Haymitch stands. Looks at them. 2 kids who were dying 5 years ago. 2 weapons he forged from desperation. Tomorrow, you're not just fighting for yourselves. You're fighting for every District 12 tribute who died unprepared. You're fighting to prove that the capital doesn't own us, that we can fight back, that we can win. I know. That's what I trained you for. Haymitch heads for the door. Stops. One more thing. When you're in that arena, when it gets bad, and it will get bad, remember this. You're not alone. You've got each other. Trust that. Use that. And come home. He leaves. Katniss and Peeta sit in silence. Tomorrow, the 74th Hunger Games begin, and the capital is about to learn what happens when District 12 fights back. The arena. Day 1, 10 a.m. The platform rises. Katniss stands 60 seconds from death or survival. The arena is a temperate forest. Pine trees, oak trees, undergrowth thick enough to hide in. A lake stretches to the east, maybe half a mile across. The cornucopia sits in the center of an open field. Golden horn filled with supplies, weapons, survival gear. Kill zone, deliberate design. The game makers want blood. Katniss scans in the 10 seconds before the gong. Bow orange pack, 20 meters from her platform, partially hidden behind a crate. Arrows quiver beside it. Medical supplies, food, sleeping bags scattered around the cornucopia. Terrain features, tree line 50 meters north, lake to the east, open ground everywhere else. She looks left. Peeta is 3 platforms away. Their eyes meet. He nods toward the cornucopia. She nods back. Plan is set. Around them, 22 other tributes. Half are crying. Quarter are praying. The rest are shaking, terrified. The careers, Cato, Clove, Marvel, Glimmer, are grinning confident. They've trained for this their entire lives. Katniss breathes slowly, centers herself. 5 years of preparation. This is what it was for. The gong sounds. Second 010 tributes explode off their platforms. Chaos screaming. Half run immediately for the forest. Smart play. Avoid the bloodbath. Find water and shelter. The careers sprint straight for the cornucopia. Standard strategy. Secure supplies. Kill anyone who gets close. Katniss doesn't run straight for the bow. A girl from District 9, maybe 14, thin, desperate, is closer to it. She's going to reach it first. Katniss adjusts, angles her run. Last second, she drops into a slide. Baseball player stealing home. Grabs a knife from the ground without stopping. Throws. The blade takes the District 9 girl in the thigh. Not lethal, but she goes down screaming. Katniss has the bow, has the quiver, keeps moving. First cannon, Peeta doesn't go for the bow. He goes for close combat, bull rush toward the cornucopia, using his wrestling training. Low center of gravity, momentum, power. A boy from District 6, scrawny, maybe 13, tries to grab a sword from the pile. Peeta reaches him first. Single strike, precise, breaks the boy's arm at the elbow. Takes the sword. The boy collapses. Someone else, career from District 2, finishes him. Second cannon, seconds 1030. The careers reach the cornucopia. Cato is already killing. Sword through a District 10 boy's chest. The tribute dies before he hits the ground. Third cannon, Glimmer has a bow. She's drawing, aiming at tributes fleeing toward the tree line. She's competent, trained. Dangerous, Katniss puts an arrow through Glimmer's bow hand. The arrow punches through palm, exits the other side. Glimmer's bow drops. She screams, high, piercing, shocked. Capital's darling, beautiful blonde career who thought she was invincible. Clove is there instantly, throws a knife, trying to cover Glimmer. Katniss is already moving. The knife misses by inches. Glimmer tries to pull the arrow out of her hand. Can't. Goes into shock. Clove screams for help, but the other careers are busy killing. Katniss's second arrow takes Glimmer through the throat. Clean kill. Fourth cannon. Peeta doesn't engage the careers directly, not suicidal. He's at the cornucopia, cutting straps on supply packs, sending them tumbling, creating chaos. Food scatters, medical supplies spill, sleeping bags unroll. The careers have to choose: kill fleeing tributes or secure supplies. They choose wrong. They chase kills. Seconds 30, 60. Katniss has her rhythm now. Bow, draw, aim, release. Muscle memory. 10,000 practice shots over 5 years. District 3 boy, small, maybe 12, trying to hide behind a crate. Arrow through his heart. He's dead before he understands what happened. 5th cannon. District 5 girl, running for the tree line, almost safe. Arrow between her shoulder blades. Lung shot. She runs 3 more steps, collapses, drowns in her own blood. 6th cannon. District 8 boy, panicking, spinning in circles, no idea where to run. Headshot, instant death. 7th cannon. Katniss isn't cruel, isn't sadistic like the careers. She's efficient. Every kill is quick, merciful if mercy exists in the Hunger Games. Peeta creates havoc in close quarters. His sword work is brutal but precise. He's not swinging wildly. He's controlling space, creating openings, protecting Katniss's blind spots. A girl from District 7 tries to grab an axe. Peeta's sword takes her hand off at the wrist. She falls screaming. Marvel finishes her with a spear. 8th cannon. Cato realizes something is wrong. He's at the cornucopia surrounded by supplies and bodies. But District 12 is dominating the bloodbath. "Focus on 12, Cato screams. "Kill them." Too late. The withdrawal. 90 seconds into the bloodbath, Katniss and Peeta have what they need. Weapons, bow, arrows, sword, knives. Supplies, food, water, medical kit, sleeping bags, rope. 2 massive packs, enough to survive a week. Katniss provides covering fire, 3 arrows in rapid succession, forcing the careers to dive for cover. Peeta grabs both packs, 80 pounds combined. His bakery-built strength makes it manageable. They run. Not panicked flight. Tactical retreat. 50 meters to the tree line. Katniss fires backward over her shoulder, not killing shots, suppressing fire. Keep the careers pinned. They reach the trees. Disappear into the forest. Behind them, the bloodbath continues for another 30 seconds. But the momentum is broken. Final count, 11 cannons. Usually the bloodbath claims 6 to 8. Katniss killed 4. Peeta killed 3. The rest were career kills or environmental. In the Capitol control room, head game maker Seneca Crane stares at screens showing the carnage. "What just happened?" he asks. His assistant, young woman, terrified, whispers, "District 12 just won the bloodbath." Seneca hits the intercom, direct line to President Snow's mansion. Snow answers immediately, "Report." "Sir, the District 12 tributes, they're not behaving as expected. They've secured significant supplies, eliminated multiple threats, and retreated before the careers could organize." Haymitch Abernathy. Silence. Then, "I want continuous surveillance. Every camera in that arena on those 2. If they sneeze, I want to know about it." "Yes, sir." Snow ends the call, returns his attention to the screens showing Katniss and Peeta disappearing into the forest. 24 years ago, Haymitch Abernathy won the 50th Hunger Games by outsmarting the arena. Snow had his family killed as punishment. Apparently, Haymitch learned from that mistake. He didn't just train 2 tributes. He created weapons. First night, the cave. 8 p.m., Katniss and Peeta find the cave during the countdown. 60 seconds on the platforms, Katniss spotted it. Natural formation, 50 yards into the tree line, easily defensible. They're there now. Fire is too risky. Smoke attracts attention. They eat cold rations from their packs. Dried fruit, jerky, bread. Capitol food, rich and filling. Outside, the anthem plays. The Capitol seal projects in the sky. Then faces of the dead. District 3, boy and girl, both died in the bloodbath. District 4, girl. Katniss killed her. District 5, both tributes, Katniss killed the girl. Careers killed the boy. District 6, boy, Peeta broke his arm. Career finished him. District 7, girl. Peeta wounded her. Marvel finished her District 8, boy. Katniss killed him. District 9, girl. Clove killed him after Katniss wounded her. District 10, boy. Katniss killed her. 11 faces, 11 cannons, 11 families watching their children die on live television. Katniss counts silently. 11 down. 13 left, including us. Peeta is treating a shallow cut on his arm, caught a blade during the bloodbath. Nothing serious, he wraps it with medical gauze. The careers will come for us, Peeta says quietly. Good. We know where they'll be. Cornucopia, securing supplies, establishing camp. They'll send scouts tomorrow. And we'll be ready. They don't celebrate, don't acknowledge that they just survived the bloodbath. This is business. Tactical assessment and planning. Katniss has set tripwires around the cave entrance. Simple snares, nothing lethal. But they'll make noise if triggered. Early warning system, they sleep in shifts, 2 hours each. Katniss first. Peeta stays awake, watching the cave entrance, sword across his lap. In District 12, watching on television screens across the district, people see something they haven't seen in 73 years. District 12 tributes who look dangerous. Haymitch sits in his mansion, watching. Sober, focused, analyzing every move his tributes make. So far, they're executing perfectly, but the games have only just begun. Hunting the careers. Day 2. Dawn. Reconnaissance. Katniss moves through the canopy 200 yards above the career camp. Silent, invisible. Haymitch taught her this. Forest, stealth, predator movement. Below, the careers have fortified the cornucopia. Cato, Clove, Marvel, the District 4 tributes. Boy and girl have joined the pack. 5 careers total. They're arguing. Katniss can't hear words, but body language is clear. Cato is furious. Clove is nervous. Marvel wants to hunt District 12 immediately. Katniss watches for 20 minutes, maps their camp layout. Supply distribution, guard rotations, weapon caches. She also spots something unexpected. Peeta's handiwork. A false rock near the lake. Perfect camouflage. Supply cache. They created it yesterday after the bloodbath, hid emergency supplies in case they need to abandon the cave. Haymitch is training in action. Katniss returns to the cave, reports. 5 careers. Armed, organized, but rattled. They weren't expecting us to survive the bloodbath. Good, Peeta says. Let's keep them off balance. Day 2. Afternoon. First ambush. Marvel. Marvel volunteers to scout. He's confident, armed with 3 spears, thinking he's hunting prey. He doesn't realize he's the prey. Katniss tracks him for an hour. Patient, waiting for the perfect moment. Marvel enters a ravine. Narrow space, 20 feet deep, walls on both sides. No cover, no escape routes. Katniss whistles. Mockingjay call. High, clear, haunting. Marvel spins. Sees nothing. Trees, rocks, shadows. Then the ground grabs him. Peeta rises from the ravine floor. Perfect camouflage painted to match the stone and dirt. He'd been lying there for 30 minutes waiting. Grabs Marvel's ankle. Pulls. Marvel falls. Spears scatter. Katniss's arrow goes through Marvel's throat before he can scream. 12th cannon. They take his supplies. Food, water, medical kit. Leave the body. The careers will find it eventually. Message sent. You're being hunted. Day 3. Night. Psychological warfare. The careers are rattled. Marvel's death broke their confidence. They're arguing at camp, visible from Katniss's vantage point in the trees. Cato wants to run, regroup. The District 4 tributes want to abandon the pack. That night, Katniss and Peeta strike. Not to fight, to sabotage. Peeta uses night vision goggles, taken from the cornucopia during the bloodbath. He sneaks into the career camp while they sleep. Katniss provides overwatch from the trees. Arrow knocked, ready to kill anyone who wakes up. Peeta moves like a ghost. 5 years of training in stealth, camouflage, silent movement. He contaminates their water supply. Mild sedative from the medical kit. Not enough to kill, enough to make them groggy, slow, vulnerable. He's out in 3 minutes. The careers never wake up. Morning comes. The careers drink the water. By noon, they're sluggish, confused. Perfect. Day 3, afternoon. Second ambush. District 4 girl is sent to gather fresh water, alone. Tactical error. Katniss doesn't use an arrow, too loud, too obvious. She uses a snare trap. Haymitch taught her dozens of variations. This one is simple. Rope noose hidden under leaves, triggered by weight. The girl steps on it, gets yanked into the air, hanging upside down 30 feet up. She screams, The scream echoes through the forest, draws the couriers, exactly as planned. By the time they arrive, Katniss has already cut the girl's throat. Quick, efficient. The body is still swinging when the couriers reach the clearing. 13th Canon, Clove sees the trap, sees the body, understands. They're hunting us, she whispers. We're supposed to be hunting them, but they're hunting us. Cato refuses to accept it. We find them. We kill them today. But fear is spreading. The couriers aren't invincible anymore. Day 4, midday, tracker jackers. The game makers are frustrated. The 74th Hunger Games are not entertaining. They're one-sided. District 12 is dominating through strategy and precision. The couriers are reacting, not acting. Seneca Crane makes a decision. Deploy a nest near District 12's position. Force them into the open tracker jacker nest, genetically engineered wasps. Their venom causes hallucinations, pain, death in large doses. The nest appears overnight, dropped by hovercraft attached to a tree branch directly above Katniss and Peeta's current position. Dawn. Katniss wakes, sees the nest immediately, recognizes it. Haymitch taught her about mutations. Tracker jackers were used in the 50th games. She knows what they do. Peeta, we need to move. Now. What's wrong? Tracker jackers, above us. Most tributes would run, panic, try to get as far away as possible. Katniss climbs the tree. Carefully, silently, she reaches the branch holding the nest, pulls out her knife. Below, the couriers are approaching. They've been tracking Katniss and Peeta all morning. They're 50 yards away, moving through the underbrush. Perfect timing. Katniss cuts the branch. The nest falls, directly onto the courier camp below. The wasps explode from the broken nest. Swarm, attack. Cato, Clove, and the District 4 boy are stung immediately. Multiple stings. The venom hits fast. Cato swings his sword at shadows, hallucinating. Screaming, Clove is on the ground, vomiting. The venom is destroying her nervous system. The District 4 boy runs, makes it 20 yards before collapsing. The wasps follow him down. 14th Canon, Katniss and Peeta attack during the chaos. Clove is delirious. Can't focus, throws knives wildly. Katniss doesn't give her a chance to recover. One arrow, through the heart. 15th Canon. Cato is wounded, hallucinating, but still dangerous. He sees them, charges. They fight, brutal, close quarters. Peeta's using wrestling technique, trying to control Cato's sword arm. Katniss circles, fires arrows at Cato's armor, aiming for gaps. Knee, armpit, neck. One arrow gets through. Cuts Cato's thigh. Not lethal, but he's bleeding. Cato breaks away. Runs. Disappears into the forest. They don't chase. Too risky. Cato's wounded. Alone. He'll die eventually. Day 5. The lake. Final fight. 3 tributes left. Katniss, Peeta, Cato. The game makers force confrontation. Drain the water sources. Drive everyone to the lake. Cato is there when they arrive. Wounded, exhausted, but he's a career to the end. Sword, armor, desperation. You killed them all, Cato says. His voice is raw. Marvel, Clove, glimmer. You killed my pack. You'd have killed us, Katniss replies. That's the game. I trained my whole life for this. Trained to win, to bring honor to my district. And I'm going to lose to District 12? Yes, Cato charges. The fight lasts 5 minutes, longest 5 minutes of Katniss's life. Cato is skilled, fast, strong. Even wounded, he's dangerous. He targets Peeta first, knows the archer is the real threat. Sword strikes, powerful, trying to kill quickly. Peeta defends, parries, uses footwork, stays mobile, but he's losing ground. Katniss circles, fires arrows. Cato's armor stops most of them. She's aiming for gaps, but Cato's moving too fast. Cato catches Peeta's sword, disarms him. For a moment it looks like the career will win. Then Peeta does what Haymitch taught him. Sacrifice. He lets Cato's sword cut his arm. Shallow wound, controlled, just enough to create an opening. Then Peeta grapples. Wrestling move, locks Cato's sword arm. Katniss's final arrow takes Cato in the eye. 16th Canon. Cato collapses, dead before he hits the ground. Peeta falls, bleeding from his arm. Not fatal, but bad. Katniss is beside him instantly. Medical kit out, wrapping the wound, applying pressure. You're okay, she says. You're okay. We're the last two. We won. Then the announcement. Claudius Templesmith's voice echoes across the arena. Attention tributes, there has been a rule change. The previous rule allowing 2 victors from the same district has been revoked. Only 1 victor may be crowned. Good luck, and may the odds be ever in your favor. Silence. Katniss and Peeta look at each other. 5 years. Training together, fighting together, surviving together. Now the Capitol wants them to kill each other. No, Katniss says quietly. No, Peeta agrees. They reach into their packs simultaneously, pull out small purple berries, nightlock. They've been carrying them since day 1. Haymitch's plan, the nuclear option. Together? Peeta asks. Together. 3, Katniss counts. 2, Peeta continues. Wait, Claudius Templesmith's voice, panicked. Stop, stop. Ladies and gentlemen, may I present the winners of the 74th Hunger Games, Katniss Everdeen and Peeta Mellark. They lower the berries, slowly. Don't smile. Don't celebrate. Don't play the grateful victors. They stare into the camera with cold, empty eyes. Message to President Snow. We beat your game. We did it together. And we're not afraid of you. The hovercraft arrives. Retrieves them. As they rise out of the arena, Katniss holds Peeta's hand. Not romantically, like soldiers who survived war together. Time in the arena, 5 days. Record time, usually games last 2 to 3 weeks. Kill count, Katniss, 9, Peeta, 6. Environmental, 3. The calculated checkmate, Capital Medical Bay. Day 6, Peeta's injuries are healed in hours. Capital technology, tissue regeneration, synthetic skin, accelerated healing. But the real wound is psychological. 23 kids are dead. Some by their hands, most by their hands. Katniss sits beside Peeta's bed. They don't speak, don't need to. 5 years together, they communicate in silence. Finally, Peeta speaks. Did we do the right thing? We survived. That's all we could do. We killed children. The Capitol killed children. We just refused to be the ones who died. Haymitch enters, sober, focused. You did more than survive. You made them afraid. Snow? Katniss asks. Furious, the berries stunt humiliated him on live television. He can't punish you publicly. Makes him look weak. But he'll come for you eventually. We need to be ready. District 12, 2 weeks later. The return. They come home to a crowd. Hundreds of people, not celebrating, rallying. People look at Katniss and Peeta with hope. Dangerous, desperate hope. In District 11, Rue's family gave the 3-finger salute during the victory tour. The gesture spread. Peacekeepers shot people. Blood in the square. Katniss and Peeta realize they didn't just win the games, they started something. That night, a hovercraft lands illegally near District 12. Representatives from District 13, revealed to be alive, make contact. Commander Coin appears on video. Gray hair, gray eyes, cold calculation. Your victory proved something we've been saying for years. The Capitol can be beaten. Join us. Haymitch, we're not starting a revolution we can't win. What do you have? Weapons. A plan. But we need symbols. You've already become that. Decision is made. Evacuate District 12's willing citizens before Snow can retaliate. Not idealistic rebellion. Calculated military maneuver. They have 48 hours. The War Council. 3 months later, President Snow announces the third quarter quell. Tributes will be reaped from existing victors. Trap aimed at Katniss and Peeta. Over 3 nights, they evacuate 800 District 12 citizens to District 13. Families, miners, hunters, people who want to fight leave enough behind to make the district look occupied. Decoys. When Snow orders the firebombing, the Capitol destroys an almost empty district. Katniss and Peeta watch from District 13. Some innocents died. Elderly, those who refused to believe, peacekeeper families. War has casualties, Haymitch says coldly. We saved 800, that's the math. District 13. 6 months later, Haymitch becomes Supreme Tactical Advisor. Katniss and Peeta become field commanders. They train District 13 soldiers in guerrilla tactics, asymmetric warfare, psychological operations, precision strikes. The Mockingjay symbol spreads. Districts sabotage Capitol supply lines. First major campaign, District 2's Nut. The Capitol's military command center. Haymitch plans, Katniss and Peeta execute. Small team, infiltration using game skills, camouflage, stealth, precision killing. They get inside, sabotage weapon systems, evacuate before implosion. District 2 falls to the rebellion. The preemptive strike, 1 year after the games. Capitol invasion. Snow is desperate, threatens to execute prisoners on live broadcast. Katniss's response is broadcast across every Capitol screen. President Snow, you trained us to kill in your arena. Now we're using those skills to free Panem. You made us weapons. You're about to see what that means. Declaration of total war. Haymitch designs three-pronged assault. Gale's unit disables defense grid. Beatty's hackers take over broadcasts. Katniss and Peeta's strike force assaults Snow's mansion. Urban combat. Capitol is defended by peacekeepers and mutations. Hunger Games on city scale. Katniss and Peeta use everything learned. Rooftop sniping, close quarters combat, traps. They reach the presidential mansion. Snow has rigged the approach with mines disguised as humanitarian aid. Killing refugee children. Designed to break Katniss morally. Doesn't work. She's too hardened. Disable the mines, she orders. Push forward. Then Coin reveals her true nature. Orders airstrike on Capitol children, including Prim working as a medic, solidifying power through martyrdom. Prim dies in the explosion. The execution platform, 1 week later. Katniss is supposed to execute Snow. Instead, she turns her arrow on Coin. 1 shot, through the heart. Snow dies laughing, blood on his lips. Chaos erupts. The Master's Legacy, District 12. 5 years later, Katniss and Peeta rebuild the Everdeen house in the seam. Not Victor's village. They're done with that. They plant primrose flowers in the garden. For Prim, for all the dead tributes, for the cost of freedom, their relationship never becomes romantic. The bond is deeper, forged in blood and survival. Siblings in all but name. Years later, they have families with others. Katniss with Gale eventually, Peeta with Deli Cartwright from District 12. But they remain each other's anchor. District 12. 10 years later, Haymitch dies peacefully in his sleep at 60 years old. Heart failure. The war aged him decades. His funeral is attended by thousands. Not as a drunk victor, as the architect of Panem's liberation. Katniss and Peeta speak at his memorial. Peeta, he found 2 kids dying in the rain and gave them a reason to live. You have to fight for something beyond yourself. They stand at his grave in Victor's village. They've erected a monument, not to him as a victor, but as a teacher, father, revolutionary. The inscription reads, "He turned the Capitol's weapons against them." Katniss places an arrow at the base. Peeta places a loaf of bread, callback to the beginning, when Peeta threw burned bread to a starving girl in the rain. They walk away together. No longer kids, no longer warriors, just survivors carrying the weight of what they did to earn their freedom. Epilogue. 20 years later, the Hunger Games are history. The arenas are destroyed. The tributes are memorialized. Katniss sits in the meadow behind her house. Evening primroses bloom around her. Prim's flowers. She's 41 years old now. Gray hair, lines on her face, alive. Her children play nearby. Peeta's children visit often. The next generation, born into a world without games, without arenas, without annual child sacrifice. She thinks about Haymitch sometimes, the drunk victor who sobered up to save 2 starving kids, who turned guilt into purpose, who created weapons from desperation. She thinks about Peeta, her brother in all the ways that matter, the boy with the bread who became a soldier, a leader, a survivor. She thinks about the cost. Prim, dead at 17. Finnick, dead in the sewers. Hundreds of rebels dead in the Capitol assault. Thousands dead in the war. Was it worth it? She doesn't know. We'll never know. But she knows this. Her children will never stand on a platform waiting for a gong to sound. Will never be entertainment for Capitol citizens. That's something. Maybe not enough to balance the cost, but something. In the meadow surrounded by primrose flowers blooming in the sunset, Katniss Everdeen makes her peace with that. The games are over. The cost is paid. The survivors endure, and the primrose flowers bloom year after year after year, forever.